Hey, hi, Lisa Marie here. And stuff just pops into my head and makes me kind of think. And so I start doing some research. And today, yesterday and today, my research was on where does the fat go once we lose weight? I mean, what happens to it? When I was at the Obesity Help conference last October, there was a machine that helped measure your different body compositions and the different fat on your body. And then when I had some consultations with the, plastic surgeons, I thought all of this extra stuff on my body was fat, and it is not. It's skin, but it does have fat cells. What? Yes. So the thing about our bodies is we are born with a certain amount of fat cells, and those fat cells are what help us grow and mature and our bodies function and what have you. So we start out with fat cells about here, and then when we get to be toddlers, young children, they increase because that's our prime growing time that we need them to increase. Then they increase again when we're in adolescence because of hormones. Hello, we all have it. And then they usually increase again into our young adulthood. Now, for most people, that's kind of where they stay. And if you're healthy and you're active and you're doing these different things and you're eating the right proportions, your fat cells kind of stay at that level. The thing is, just like our hair all falls out and then it stops and then it falls out and then it stops. And when it's falling out, it's generating new growth. Well, the same thing happens with our fat cells. Yes. Some of the fat cells die off and somehow die and get eliminated, but they're almost immediately filled back up in that spot with a new fat cell. It might be smaller and then it'll grow depending on what we do, but if you have one and it dies, another one comes and takes its place. So what the heck are we supposed to do after weight loss surgery? And how do we know if this is going to be permanent or what have you? What I have been learning is we can shrink our fat cells like incredibly fast. If you have had your surgery already, you know. The skin, the weight starts coming off like crazy, and those fat cells shrink really fast. The thing is all of those fat cells, they were full of hormones and things that control our metabolism and things like that. So they're shrinking, and what's happening? All those hormones and stuff are going bleh, outside of the cell. They don't have anywhere to go. They're bigger than the fat cells, so it's going to explode. That's why we're emotional. That's why we're moody. That's why we're hangry, like all the time, even when we're not hungry. So the thing about the fat cells that I'm learning is just because we've lost all this weight, and I believe this is why regain happens so easy and in a way so quickly for those of us who have had weight loss surgery. Because here's all the fat cells. There's a whole bunch of fat cells still in your body. They're little, they've shrunk, they're all taking up space together, but unless you're eating right and making healthy choices at least 80% of the time, those fat cells, you throw some extra sugar in there, you throw some extra carbs in there, you throw some alcohol in there, you throw some other things in there, those fat cells are going to go from this and they're going to start doing this. Now your clothes are still going to fit. Your weight might show it. It might not at first. However, You give it a week or 2 or 3. Sometimes it doesn't show for about 3 or 4 weeks. Then all of a sudden, the places that when you were being fit and doing some kind of physical activity and eating right, different places start flattening out and smoothing out. And you're like, wow, this is great. I think I can have a piece of cake now, or a donut, or a candy bar, or soda pop, whatever you're going off the deep end into. 1 bite, 2 bites, probably not going to do you permanent harm. May give you stinky gas, may make you bloated and sick and whatever. That's your body's signal saying, stop it. You're giving us healthy things and now you're messing it up, so stop it. But these fat cells that were like this are now going to do this and this and this and this. What's going to happen? Our clothes aren't going to fit anymore. The scale is going to go up. Slowly but surely, weight's going to come back because all of those fat cells are still in our body. They're like a big apartment building that's standing empty and just waiting for somebody to move in. So, what do? Right? I mean, first of all, you have to know this. And you have to be ready for it. And you have to prepare for it against yourself. And that bully, if you had a bully like me that's been tagging along all your fat life, you know, you got to tell that bully to knock it off and get out of here and get lost. The truth is, we're going to have these fat cells. And the truth is, unless you have them, well, even this isn't true. In my research, even if you have the fat cells sucked out with like liposuction or this new freezing thing that they're doing, your body knows that those are now gone and it's going to generate new ones and fill it back up. So you're still going to have the same amount of fat cells. Is that crazy? It's crazy. I've also learned that obese people who now maybe have twice as many fat cells as a person who is healthy and stayed, healthy and didn't get obese, they're going to have this many fat cells. And they're all that same size and they're all, whatever. They've got 5 of them. Well, the obese person is going to have these, but they're all going to be bigger. Okay? Now we lose weight, an amazing thing happens. Our fat cells shrink up. We still have twice as many, but they shrink up to even smaller than the fat cell over here on the thin, healthy person. Is that crazy? Wow. God is so amazing. I can't figure him out. And I can't figure out my body very often, but this I know is true because I've seen it over and over again. Those of us who've lost weight start getting lazy about 7 months, 9 months, 12 months in, or you do really super good and then 18 months in, 2 years in, you start bringing in these weird little habits because they don't show up at first. But all those fat cells in your body are having a party in the apartment building because they're like, what? We knew this wasn't gonna last. We knew it wasn't gonna last. She's feeding us. She's feeding us. And they start hoarding it and stuffing it and getting bigger again. And then they start filling up the space. And what's gonna happen is they're gonna fill up the space and it's gonna start expanding. That's just what happens. So, if you don't want that to happen and you don't want those little fat cells to get out of that squished part, then the answer to it is at least 80% of the time. Weigh and measure your foods, plan your portions, stay within healthy foods, non-processed. Definitely try to stay away from processed carbs. I mean, you can have carbs that are natural or whole grain, multi-grain, things like that. My body still is like, with those, but whatever. that's how you stay healthy. I mean, look at some of your healthy, skinny friends who've always been that way and watch what they do. They might have a high metabolism, but they might not. But you watch what they eat. And if we eat a well-balanced diet for our bodies, focusing on protein first, then our vegetables, then some kind of a carb, and that carb doesn't have to be fruit and bread and pasta. It doesn't. It could be leafy or dark green vegetables. It could be a little bit of potato, maybe some peas or corn. It doesn't have to be what we traditionally think of as a carb. So, our fat cells, they're with us, unfortunately, forever. They will shrink and they will die, but then they get replaced with something else taking their place. And so is our ability to keep our weight off and keep those fat cells little permanent? Yes. Yes, it is. But it's not going to be easy. There's work involved. And, you know, you're an adult. I'm an adult. And sometimes we got to spank ourselves back into line instead of thinking we've got it and our body's still doing all of this. So, sorry if I'm bursting your bubble. I'm sorry if I'm bringing you bad news, but it's some truth. And the truth is we have way more fat cells than the normal average healthy person. And those fat cells can and will get filled back up if we feed them the wrong stuff. So there you have it. My pop in my head thing about fat and fat cells and what happens and if it's permanent or not. And look it up. You'll see. It is definitely a crazy thing, but we do have some say-so. We are the boss of our body. So you and I have control of what we put in here. And then that determines our fat cells. Okay? That's all I have. My brain of Lisa Marie. That's it for today. I am getting ready to do some more reading, but I wanted to share that with you first because I think it's really super important, and I wish I would have known that prior to surgery. So have a great rest of the day. I see some comments in there, but I can't read it from here. So I'll go in and look at it and answer what I can, okay? If you have any questions or you need some help and you don't want to say it publicly here on the page, message me. Message me and I'll answer you and I'll get back to you, okay? Have a great rest of the day. Bye.